The top 5 effects of the Aaron Rodgers I said contract, but apparently there's not one according to Aaron, but Jack and I, Jack did not want to change this thing another time. He was frustrated when we had to change it because I had sent him a logo of quarterback needy teams or a suggestion, and one of them made a trade. 20 minutes after I sent it to you, Jack? Yeah, but 20 minutes. So we had to change things up, and Jack's already mean enough to me, so I didn't need any worse today. But number 5, ups the going rate for QBs once again, because once this contract, even though they said that 4 years, $200 million is not the number and he hasn't signed it, eventually, like John McClain said, they're going to do something because that's what this is about. And they have to do something between him and Davante Adams to make sure their salary cap is right. So eventually it will happen and save the money on the cap. So what is going to be the rate for quarterbacks? Yes, Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes will set the market, but on the next tier down, what's the rate going to be between them and Dak and Josh Allen and all those guys? What's the new rate going to be? Russell Wilson's going to probably sign a new deal in Denver. What is that going to do? And this certainly will set that because, again, unless you're Aaron Rodgers, you're not getting Aaron Rodgers money, but the second tier is going to be interesting to see.
Well, it keeps going up every time. There used to be maybe the salary cap was $50 million a team. I don't know I don't know where it started, but it's just what average guys in the NBA now are making $8 to $10 million a year, and I'm not against it. Hey, if you can get it.
That money easily.
Yeah. It's just part of the deal.
Chump change almost. Like, what's the average? Is it $50 million per year? Is that he's going to make?
That's what the
based on the initial report, is it $50 million per year? Okay, yeah. $50 million per year, then he's the highest paid quarterback by at least $5 million. Mahomes has got 45 annually. Josh Allen 43. Dak 40. Deshaun, not right now. Matt Ryan 30 and Russell Wilson 35. I mean, those are like the top 5 guys per year. So he's bumping it by at least $5 million, and I don't know whose contracts are coming up anytime soon that's going to be in the ballpark of, Mahomes and all those guys. I guess.
What does this mean for Joe Burrow in a year?
In like 3 or 4 years. What does that mean for those guys? But most of the quarterbacks now, even though we're starting to talk about these young guys, start looking at it like Stafford and Garoppolo and Rodgers and Wilson and Ryan. Like, those are all older guys now that are all in amongst the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks. But you do have some young guys like Allen and Mahomes and Dak. So, just curious to see how that bumps it up $5 million per year if that contract becomes accurate.
In Aikman's career, he renegotiated his deal, I think, after they won their first Super Bowl. His salary was $2.5 million. He had a signing bonus of $8,250,000. And I remember it was like $100 million. I don't even know if it was that. It probably was. It's like a 5-year, $50 million deal. And we gasped at that. Remember?
Yeah.
Gasp.
Now you're like, 5 years, $50 million? Bargain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was he the backup? No, but number 4, Deshaun Watson's market becomes slightly clearer now. This is still muddy waters until the legal situation is cleared up. But now that you see what the going rate is for someone like Russell Wilson, what it was, all this that has happened in the day, what it's going to take to get Deshaun Watson if he is cleared. And you also know the teams that could be involved in this deal, which I'll get to in a second. But it does somewhat clear a very murky situation with Deshaun Watson, which is going to remain murky until the grand jury makes its decision, and they don't care. They're not going to. Their lives aren't going to be changed whether Deshaun Watson plays on opening day or not. So, it doesn't matter to them.
Yeah, until that thing is cleared up.
That's the thing. Until that gets cleared up, there ain't nothing clear right now. You're right that it does, if he's available, make it clear where he could go and what actually makes sense. Like, obviously, he's not going to Green Bay. He's not going to Denver. He's not, but where else he might go, let's get the legal cases sorted out first. That's the thing.
I would think it really clears up what the value is.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's what it is.
And even then, that's kind of a question mark, too, just because, he hadn't played in a while now at this point. By the time he suits up, if he suits up, he'll have been out of the league for nearly 2 years. But, he's definitely still got value remaining. By the way, I just looked at, the upcoming free agents. It appears, if I did this correctly, next year, the free agent quarterbacks, you'll have Jimmy G, you'll have Stafford, you'll have Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield. So there'll be a few of those guys. They're not going to get $50 million per year, though. That's for sure.
Did I see where Baker Mayfield's having a statue Bill?
In Oklahoma, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every Heisman winner gets a statue. They have
Okay.
Heisman Park there. So there's already 5 or 6 statues up there already.
Yeah, they have a bunch.
It's going to be like Yankee Stadium in the Monument.
No, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Number 3, QB needy teams move on to the next step. So if you are particularly, these two jump out at me, Carolina and Pittsburgh. If you are these two teams, what do you do? Yeah, I mean, I probably, we kind of thrown Washington into this mix as well. New Orleans maybe, but these two really jump out at me as what's the option? What are the options that they have? What do you do if you're here? Do you get involved in Deshaun Watson if he comes up? Do you make the Jimmy G desperation trade? Do you where do you go? Does one of you sign Mitch Trubisky? Which is Marcus Mariota's on the market. What happens there? What's your decision where you have to settle now that both Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson are not options for you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Rule in Carolina, they desperately need a quarterback, and they've been linked with Deshaun Watson since the Deshaun Watson story happened, basically, because they're in such need of a quarterback. So wouldn't be surprised to see them strike. Like, the only thing is Rule's kind of in a prove-it year, kind of getting into prove-it territory, and, do you want to risk it, your prove it year on Deshaun Watson, like that? Is he can you rely on him? And I don't mean like him getting in trouble again, but like, are we sure he can play? Can he play the full season? There's not going to be any court thing that comes up or whatever, but yeah, I mean, if he's available, there's going to be some teams interested no matter what, and I definitely would expect Carolina at the very least to be one of those.
Carolina, Washington, a few others had to sit there and see that news with Russell Wilson and throw up all over themselves.
Yeah. Especially since Washington was enthusiastic to try to get Russell Wilson.
Let's go draft the next Dwayne Haskins again.
Yep. All right, number 2, Davante Adams' deal is next, and he was obviously franchised today, and they're going to have to get that done. But as soon as you hear this about Aaron Rodgers, I do think that there was a chance that maybe the Packers, could have franchised Davante Adams and then tried to trade him if Aaron Rodgers wasn't there, because then you're kind of in a rebuild mode or things are changing and maybe try to get draft picks. But now, Rodgers and Adams will be together, and you don't franchise or not do a deal with Davante Adams when you decide to bring Aaron Rodgers, or Aaron Rodgers decides to come back. So going to do everything they can to make him happy. I wonder what his overall number is going to be, because I would say that, of course, over the last 5 years, I don't know if there's been anybody as consistently good as he has, outside of DeAndre Hopkins, who this last year got hurt. And then Deebo Samuel's kind of on the scene now, but that's his first really good year.
How much is Amari Cooper? $20 million?
Yeah.
Then Davante Adams is more than that.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's not the highest number, though.
No, I know. But
Julio Jones is making 22, which is a freaking crime. And then DeAndre Hopkins is making like nearly $28 million per year.
Yeah. But Davante Adams has been,
he'll push 30 per year probably. He'll push 30 million per year probably.
So they're going to give him the franchise, top 5 of the what position, right?
Yeah.
They will sign him then, most likely, though, to a contract to help alleviate it. Do you have a timeline here or not?
Yeah, they're until July 15th.
Okay, right.
So they have until July 15th to do that. But,
all
right, number 1, what happens to your first-round draft pick of a couple years ago, Jordan Love? And now you're going to have quarterback needy teams out there. Who was the team that liked Jordan Love the second most?
Coming out of college?
Do you find out who that is and go, here you go? Or do you keep Jordan Love and see how the roller coaster rides with Aaron Rodgers? But this is a guy who's a first-round draft pick 2 years ago that now, at least for the foreseeable future, is not going to start for Green Bay.
It was an odd pick at the time.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't make a whole lot of sense at the time when they drafted him.
All it did was bring more drama to what was already drama.
Yeah, that's all it did. All it did was just piss Aaron Rodgers off even further, which is apparently not that hard to do. But, I mean, there's got to be room somewhere for him, but it's not in Green Bay for much longer. You're right about that. I mean, unless he's just really cozy being the backup to Aaron Rodgers, and they're really cozy having him as the backup to Aaron Rodgers. But besides that, I would think they're going to go and try and maximize any value they can get. I mean, he seems like enough of an unpolished thing that, you don't feel like you're like everybody knows in and out like what they're getting. So maybe there is a team that's like, hey, this Jordan Love kid, there's a little something there. Let's try him out. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely got to be on the move unless he's just relegated to pure backup duty for the rest of his career, I would think.
So a lot of interesting things that happen, and this is not even getting into.
I'm glad it's over though.
Yeah.
Now let's get through the Deshaun Watson thing Friday or whenever that is, and we can.
I really do want that
to
get wrapped up, like in some finality.
I'm
but
sure
I
he
mean,
does
look,
too.
I'm just some average Joe talking about it. Like I know there's victims involved and things like that. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but like, yeah, the whole legal thing, that gets very tiresome after a while. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Speaking of quarterbacks and money, Troy Aikman's deal that's going to move him to Monday Night Football, according to Richie Witt, maybe others have reported this, 5 years, $90 million, $18 million a year. That's more than he ever made in a season, except like his next to the last year when they had to give him a clump of $13 million as a bonus. Romo, 10 years, 180. They both make $18 million a year in broadcasting.
That's
good for
crazy.
both of them. Good for each one of them. All right, thanks to